Welcome back to the channel. So I am redoing this video because in the middle of me uploading a video of similar content, the file just kind of stopped loading and cut off. So it didn't finish up the video, and when I try to upload it again, it keeps saying that it's failed. So I'm redoing the video. And I'm probably going to really shorten it because I was like really happy about the video and now I got to redo it again. Anyway, let's get into it. Actually, the good thing about this is I found an article that has some more information on the proceedings. So I talked about Kenneth Petty filing a lawsuit against New York saying that he wasn't given full right to contest his level 2 sex offender and that he did not have the opportunity to attend the Sex Offender Registration Act hearing. But the prosecutors provided proof that somebody did show up to court and claimed that they were Kenneth Petty. So we see this document. I'm not going to read where I got it from, but you guys can see at the top here because I don't want to say that word. So they're the ones who shared the document. They usually have a lot of good information actually, and they always share court documents along with it so you can always follow along. So you can see here, it says the clerk says indictment 4521 of 94, Kenny Petty. Appearances, please. Miss Bishop, Lee Bishop for the people. Miss Michelson, legal aid by Jennifer Michelson. Then the clerk said, you are Kenny Petty. The defendant, yes, sir. The clerk, thank you. The court, yes. Then they pretty much go into it and they explain to him, and if you see here, the attorney says, so we're not going to contest it. I have spoken to the defendant and I've explained to him what's happening here, and he is satisfied with a level 2. And then the court says, based upon the score, we're limited by the standings they have set, and based upon that, I was satisfied back in February of 1998 that it was a proper assessment. That being the case, our hearing is concluded and Mr. Petty shall be assessed a risk level 2. So you can see that this was actually in court documents. So Kenneth Petty's defense, again, was that, first of all, the person who signed the notice for him to appear in court for the SORA, which is the Sex Offender Registration Act hearing, was not him, so it was a forgery. Who is forging a document to appear for a Sex Offender Registration Act hearing? Even in the hood, do you have people wanting to sign a document like that so they can put their name on something dirty like that? I think not. But forget that, right? Then he says, you know what? Actually, I couldn't have been the one who showed up to court because I was incarcerated at the time. Now, granted, okay, you might have been incarcerated, but the prosecutors shot back and said, we bring people who are incarcerated to court hearings. We've seen it with Young Thug and Gunner. They are in jail, they are incarcerated, but every time they have to show up to court, either because the attorney has appealed something, or the court has to set some dates, or the judge wants to see them, or more new evidence is being presented, they're being charged for extra, or some charges are being dropped, they are awarded the ability to be brought to court. So that is really a silly defense, because I think Kenneth Petty is desperately grabbing on the straws because he's trying to find a way to get out of this. And I did share before in the video that cut off that the reason I feel like he's really pushing for this is because of Nicki Minaj. I don't think he would have cared to push to remove himself from the offender registry because he was registered and doing okay for years before he hooked back up with Nicki. But all of a sudden now, he feels that he wants it taken off. So what changed? Nicki is really pressuring him. And I think there was an article that said that she really has an issue with that. And clearly, when Lotto brought it up when they were going back and forth, and she mentioned that that's the only thing that you guys can come at me for, even though I didn't do it, but I did say that, but you laid down with him, you procreated with him, and you married him. So that's almost like pretty much giving a check to somebody who has a sketchy past. And the fact that your brother was also involved with a sketchy past is not helpful. It's kind of like, it seems like you have a tolerance for that kind of behavior. And to me, that's alarming because I would feel scared as a woman if a man told me that he was an SO list, because I'm thinking, if we have kids, I don't know if he has that thing in him where he can harm our kids. And sometimes people think, oh, it's okay if I have a boy because the man probably is not going to touch a boy. But you never know. When they're sex offenders, they could probably do anything. And because if they did it once, allegedly, they could easily do it again. They always say that. That that act is so sick and twisted. It's really special people, and not special in a good way, that do it, and it's almost like a drug that they cannot control, or so they say. So it's never like a one and done. If you notice, like even when we used to watch the show with To Catch a Predator, a lot of times it was repeat offenders. It's like they never learn. There's something in them. So there have been rumors of Kenneth Petty involved in other situations, but those are so alleged, because if I don't see no paperwork, I'm not going by just random third party unless somebody actually comes forward, which they've said that they have, but I haven't seen any proof of that other than the Jennifer Hoff situation. So I would not put that on anybody. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, or I did talk about, was the situation with Maxim Bet. Nicki Minaj is the global ambassador for Maxim Bet, and it looks like they have ceased operation effective immediately, and that they're no longer going to take any bets. So we're going to read a little statement over here. So it says the U.S. sports betting has another casualty. Maxim Bet USA has sold users. It will cease operations, and they can withdraw funds through December 15th. Says move comes amid macroeconomic conditions and an increasingly cost-prohibitive marketplace. Investors include Nicki Minaj. And then it says here, shows the message that was sent out to our loyal customers. It is with regret that we inform you that effective immediately, Maxim Bet will cease operations. And then it pretty much gives the same reason that I just spoke about right here. And then I did forget to mention about, Amazon laying off a lot of people. I was listening to a really good YouTube channel called The Stop, Danny the Stop, I think. And he was talking about how Joe was complaining about the Amazon app, and it kind of seemed like he was not satisfied with it. But now I kind of see that when Amazon has put out the rumors have started circulating that they're laying people off, and a lot of the stuff they're focusing on, one of them is AMP and another is Alexa. They're saying that those apps and products are not bringing in money, so that's a no-go. So we know that Nicki is probably not getting paid that much from that. And then the Maxim Bet, she was apparently a global ambassador. Her name is plastered a lot around this website. They're consistently or Twitter. They consistently shout her out and all of that. So, okay, breathe in, breathe out. Okay, so we see that Nicki has had kind of like a sketchy past with businesses, and I feel like it's really time for her to sit down with somebody who's really good at business, because I feel like the team that she's always had around her products are not people who are looking at longevity. They're looking at just to grasp what's hot right now, because she did the line with the Kmart, she did the perfume. Then I remember that she did that drink. What was it called? Mix. I can't remember the exact name. And then of course she's done the Amp, she's done the Maxim bet, and it's always kind of like short-lived. Like it kind of like picks up enough to last a short while. And I think this is the shortest investment she's had because she joined Maxim about mid this year, about probably about June or something. So I don't know what it's up with Nicki in the business ventures. I feel like her being such a staple in female rap, she really should push more to gain something that will actually stick. So we're gonna watch and see how she goes. And like I said, I look at Cardi B. Sometimes we get really upset at her not releasing an album, and then she says, I got a secret to share." And you're thinking, finally. Then you see a little Reebok shoe, or you see a little can of whip shots, and you kind of get upset. But then a few seconds later, you're like, you know what? She's doing what she needs to be doing, because the music industry is not safe, and it pretty much can turn on you on any day. It's pretty much turned on Cardi B, and she's had a lot of back and forth with people who are flip-flopping, and it's turned on Nicki Minaj before too. So it's not an industry that you find any comfort in staying and thinking that this is going to give me what I need for my family. So I understand when Cardi is doing what she's doing. And the good thing about Cardi is she has her husband who's also a hustler, and he's doing the same thing, and he's even branching off into fashion. So there is a second income coming into the household. For Nicki Minaj, she's a primary income. So she needs to really evaluate her business options so that she can do better. And then finally, I'm going to post a link at the bottom for y'all to go and see Young Bleu on Angela Yee's Lip Service. So it's going to be on the comment section. Just look for that link. And Young Bleu talks about how Nicki Minaj literally cursed him out and yelled at him like multiple times. She kept him waiting for like 6 to 7 months before finally releasing that collab that they had, Love in the Way. And he said later on that he feels like she's still a good person, but he understands that she's just a diva. And you could tell in the interview that, or rather the sit down, that he was a little kind of struggling to say what he wanted to say. And he kind of finally opens up a little bit, but it looked like he was like, oh my God, I hope Nicki doesn't call and curse me out. And he tried to say that, oh, he understands her behavior because she's a diva, because that's Nicki Minaj. But when are we going to stop giving excuses for that's Nicki Minaj for how she acts? If Cardi B was to treat somebody like that, if it was ever to come out that Cardi was yelling at somebody multiple times, cut them off, I tell you, everybody would be on that. We've seen Nicki literally slap and push fans away and cut them off. And it's always intolerable because she's just that much of a nasty person that sometimes when certain things happen, people are so used to it, they think it's okay. But those who are not stands of the Barbs, they know it's not okay. Okay, so that's the redo of the video. I hope it catches this time. Have a good one.